Hi friends, welcome to Raising Lifelong Learners. I'm your host, Colleen Kessler, and this is the podcast where I encourage you to trust yourself and your differently wired kiddos as you help cultivate their curiosity, encourage them to discover the world around them, embrace who they are wired to be, all while helping them discover their passions, interests, and raise them to become the amazing adults they're meant to be. Hey, welcome back. This is episode 288. Today we're talking all about executive functions, struggles, and strategies. We've talked about it before. We'll talk about it again because it's important to hear about it again and again and from different perspectives. Today specifically, we are going to focus on strategies that you can implement right now to help your kids as you start this new school year, master executive function skills, and manage the struggles that they have with them. All right, before we begin, I want to thank CTC Math for sponsoring this podcast, as well as Night Zookeeper, and I want to tell you a little bit about them. So we will get right on with today's episode after this word about Night Zookeeper. Hey there, if you are looking for a fun and stress-free way to tackle language arts in your homeschool this year, let me tell you about something that could be a total game changer for your homeschool, Night Zookeeper. It's an award-winning online program that helps kids ages 6 to 12 build their writing, reading, and spelling skills. And the best part? They actually love it. Seriously, it's so engaging and interactive that your kids won't even realize they're learning. We used Night Zookeeper in our homeschool when my girls were younger, and they had a blast creating stories and characters. This fall, my youngest son is jumping in, and I'm especially excited because he's a bit of a reluctant writer. I love knowing he'll get gentle encouragement and even personalized feedback from real tutors, so I don't have to be the one hovering over to correct all his errors and help him become a better writer. He will have somebody else helping him. Here's why homeschoolers like me love Night Zookeeper. It's fun. Kids can play independently through thousands of games and activities for grades 1 through 6. It's comprehensive, covering reading, writing, spelling, grammar, and more. It's trackable. You get a parent dashboard to monitor progress and even assign custom tasks. It's personalized because the tutors inside Night Zookeeper give feedback on your child's writing, which is huge. And it's offline too. There are free monthly printables delivered right to your inbox. Oh, and better yet, there's a 7-day free trial, so your kids can dive into the magical world of Night Zookeeper risk-free. You can check it out at the link in the show notes or at nightzookeeper.com. And let me know what your kids create. I have a feeling they are going to love it. And I want to give a special thanks to Night Zookeeper for sponsoring the podcast. It's sponsors like that keep the podcast going. We appreciate their support and we want to show support in return. So if you're in the market for a new language arts program for your kids ages 6 through 12, you definitely need to check it out. Let them know that you heard about it on the Raising Lifelong Learners podcast and let me know if you have any questions. I can't wait to hear how it goes for you. All right, are you ready? Let's get on with today's episode. Hey there, welcome back. This is going to be a great episode. We're talking today about executive function, something that hits close to home for a lot of homeschooling parents of neurodivergent kids because we are often finding ourselves wondering why our incredibly bright kiddos and creative kids and passionate kids just can't seem to start that math lesson or can't clean up their room, or even find their shoes for the 3rd time this week. This episode is for all of you who, like me, often wonder how someone so smart can struggle so much in areas of organization. And if you're feeling frustrated, tired, maybe a little worried that you're not doing enough, you're not alone. We're going to talk about what executive function is, how it shows up or doesn't in our homeschool days when we're homeschooling and parenting kiddos, and most importantly, what you can do at home to support your child as they grow those all-important life skills. So we're going to get cozy and we're going to give ourselves permission to exhale and dig into this discussion of executive function skill struggles. Now, we've talked on the podcast before about executive function skills and various aspects of it, including some like overall conversations. We're revisiting it again because we're about to start a new homeschool year, and some of you may have already started your year. It's a topic that is very much discussed. I just did, the night that I'm recording this, I did a Q&A group coaching call inside the Learners Lab for parents. And organization and motivation and task initiation, those kinds of executive function skill struggles kept coming up. And we talked about those through almost every question actually that was asked during the Q&A and the coaching session. All of the questions related back to executive function struggles in some way, shape, or form. And I will be presenting later this week in the expert series inside the organization Davidson Young Scholars for their parents group, all about executive dysfunction and how it shows up for twice exceptional kids, especially profoundly gifted kiddos. And so it's a topic that's on everybody's mind because it's everywhere right now. So let's talk first about what executive function really is. Again, you could revisit some past episodes. In fact, I'll make sure that I link the past episodes I've talked about executive function, episodes from other podcasters that I know and trust, as well as articles from my website and from around the web, all about executive dysfunction and ways that you can combat it. I'll also link to the Learners Lab. Our theme this month in August is making decisions. So we're specifically focusing on the decision-making aspect of executive function struggles. And so it might be another good place to jump in and find some answers. Executive function is one of those buzzwords that gets thrown around a lot, especially in education and parenting spaces. But at its core, it's not just about being organized or managing time well, which tends to be the, standard focus that people take when they're thinking about executive dysfunction. In actuality, executive function refers to an entire set of cognitive skills that help us plan, prioritize, focus, remember instructions, juggle multiple tasks. It's what helps us go from thinking about doing something to actually doing it. For our gifted and twice exceptional kids, this can get super complicated. Because their intellectual abilities might be miles ahead of their executive functioning, they struggle. They may be reading at a college level, but can't remember to brush their teeth or pack their backpack for co-op. And if they're also dealing with ADHD, autism, anxiety, or another neurodivergence, that gap can feel like a cannon. It's like an asynchronous seesaw. Strengths and struggles are wildly out of sync and struggle to balance at any given time. And when we homeschool, this becomes more visible because we're living it 24/7. So how do executive function struggles show up in our homeschooling? Let's take a look and kind of paint a familiar picture. You've planned a wonderful lesson or a wonderful activity or a wonderful experiment, and your kiddo was excited about it yesterday. He was talking about it. He couldn't wait to wake up and get going because he knew there was something for him to look forward to. But this morning, he's flopped on the floor in his pajamas, surrounded by half-finished Lego creations, unable to not only get started, but to become motivated to even get off that floor in the first place. You remind him again, you maybe raise your voice, you question yourself, you question your curriculum, you start questioning the experiment or activity, you start to question all of your life experiences and everything that's come before, and you decide you're probably not cut out for this whole homeschooling thing after all. Does this sound familiar? What you're seeing in your kiddo is not usually laziness. It's not defiance, it's executive dysfunction. Here's how it might show up. It might be an initiation issue. Your kiddo wants to do something, but doesn't know how to get started, and so he or she just shuts down instead of doing anything. It might be a working memory struggle. They forget their multi-step instructions and they get lost in the process. So they just don't know where to go or what to do from this point on. They lack emotional regulation. So one small bump derails the day. Maybe that kiddo who's laying there surrounded by half-finished Lego projects had a bad dream or woke up and the seams in his socks were bugging him. Or his sister looked at him funny and now he's upset and frustrated and angry. It can be any little thing that throws off his emotional regulation and he can't come back from it. It might also be time blindness. They don't understand how long tasks will take. So maybe he broke open those Legos and expected to be done before you even finished making breakfast, but it's taking way longer than he thought because he didn't understand the passage of time because of that time blindness that ADHD kids often face. Or it could be task switching. Moving from something super fun to something hard feels impossible and feels like it's not even worth it. It's not really character flaw or character flaws. They're lagging skills. And the beauty of homeschooling is that we can help build those skills gently and flexibly and consistently throughout the year. We can scaffold, we can help them, we can support them in all sorts of ways. And it's important that we do this. It's important that we build these skills and not forget about them and write off the idea of, say, time blindness as it's just part of their ADHD or it's just part of their neurodivergence, because they're going to be adults and they're going to need to function in society to some degree. You can't be impulsive and run a stop sign or a stop because you want to get somewhere and you want to get there fast. You have to follow the laws and the regulations so that you don't hurt yourself or someone else. Just the time blindness issue, you can't just show up to work whenever you want to if you're working for somebody else. If you've chosen to take on a job where you have a boss and you have expectations and structures in place, you need to be able to work within those structures, or you'll have to forfeit your job because those were the regulations under which you were hired. None of these things are excuses, and none of these things are flaws. They're just skills that need to be updated and supported so that your kids can learn them. It's just the other day I was working with one of my kids on their room, and their rooms had become overwhelming. They didn't know where to start. It was just too much. And so I actually said, here, why don't you go down and work on the dishes and fold the laundry for me? I will work on your room. I will do the deep clean. If there's something I don't know about or I'm not sure where it goes, I'll put it in a pile and I'll sort some other things that you need to go through into piles that are similar, and you can go through them with my support. But let me get the main stuff done. Let me get you organized. Let me get trash out of here. Let me get dirty clothes down. Let me get clean clothes hung up and put away. And so I took that child out of the overwhelm of their own stuff and managing it. Let them do something that was more mindless. Dishes go in the dishwasher and get taken out of the dishwasher and go in the cupboard. You don't have to think about that. Laundry gets folded and put in the baskets that belong to the person the clothes belong to. You don't have to overthink it. And so by shifting tasks, I wasn't enabling my child to never clean their room again. I was accommodating my child's struggles, helping them get to a point where it was manageable. The next time they work on their room, they'll do more. And so sometimes we need to scaffold more, but we do need to continue to build the skills. Teaching these strategies matters, even though it's hard, because we want them to be successful adults. And sometimes we assume that kids will just pick this stuff up. But for our neurodivergent kiddos, that doesn't always happen, and that's okay. Okay, so let's talk about math. Specifically, let's talk about finding a program that actually works for your unique homeschoolers. In our house, we've been using CTC Math for years, and even though I am so appreciative that they sponsor this podcast, I am a paying customer. I'm still a paying customer even with their sponsorship because it's just that good, and I love supporting great companies with great programs. With 2 kids still at home, both with very different learning needs, CTC Math has been the flexible and dependable solution that I keep coming back to. One of my kiddos needs more time to process math concepts, and I love that she can move through the lessons at her own pace without feeling rushed or behind. My other kiddo, he flies. He jumps straight to the end of unit tests to see what he already knows, and then we only focus on the lessons that fill the gaps. That kind of customization is gold when you're homeschooling gifted or twice exceptional kids. CTC Math gives you the access to every grade level from kindergarten through 12th grade with your subscription so that your child can accelerate, review, or jump around based on their own needs, not based on some rigid curriculum structure. And because it's video-based with clear instruction and auto-graded lessons and quizzes, it frees me up to support my kids without being chained to a textbook, teacher's manual, or whiteboard. So whether your child needs more time or is racing ahead, you can tailor it all with CTC Math. Check it out at ctcmath.com. You will see why so many homeschool families trust it. And if you've got quirky math learners like I do, I think you're going to love it. If you have any questions about CTC, like I said, we've been using it for years in our homeschool, and I encourage you to reach out and ask me any questions that you have. If you do pop over there, let them know that I sent you and let them know that you appreciate their ongoing support of homeschoolers everywhere, especially those of you here at Raising Lifelong Learners. All right, let's get back to today's episode. It's okay that our neurodivergent kids struggle and don't pick things up as easily as neurotypical kids. In fact, especially for our neurodivergent kids, executive function skills need to be taught just like academic subjects do. They need to be taught with modeling, practice, and lots of grace and support. Here's the thing, it's hard for us too. We're often juggling multiple kids, our own stress, and a homeschool that doesn't look like anyone else's. So I want to share some practical, doable strategies that you can use in your homeschool without overhauling everything and adding a million new systems. Because helping your child with executive function skills isn't about perfection. It's about connection, creativity, and consistency. And you can do it. There are simple strategies you can put into place, and the more consistently you do them over time and the more support you give your kids, the more they'll be able to do them as they continue to grow. And it's not a problem if when your kids go off to college or start a job on their own, if they're choosing not to go to college, if they call you for support or they say, hey, Mom, I'm struggling to organize this essay. These are the topics. I'm not sure how to put it together or how to structure it. Can you just take a look and help me out and get them started with their task initiation and then check in with them later? This is why we're here, and this is why we're homeschooling our kids. And frankly, in my opinion, our kids don't stop needing us the second they start taking college classes or classes with someone else or go on and start their early adulthood. I think it's just as important to remember that a kiddo of 18 or 20 or 22 or 24 is still developing. And if they need us, let's be there to support them, whether they're living with us or not. Helping our kids is so important, and we can start helping them today. Okay, so grab a notebook if you want to jot down some of these strategies, or just listen, soak them in, and replay it if you want to. But these are some things you can internalize and you can implement immediately. Okay, number 1, externalize the brain. So your child's brain's really busy. They're neurodivergent. Their brain's clicking away at a pace that is either super fast or super advanced or hyper fixated on one topic and just different than the neurotypical public. Right? Help them get their thoughts out of their head and into the world. You can use whiteboards, sticky notes, visual schedules, and checklists. If your kids are older, teach them to use these skills on their own. Teach them that while they might prefer a digital calendar in their phone, sometimes the brain needs to see things in multiple places. So they might want to have a paper planner, a whiteboard planner, and their phone planner. That's something that I've learned about myself. I need to transfer my information and my checklists and my to-do lists and my calendar items to multiple places, or I will forget or I'll double book. Perfect example. I missed one little piece when I was saving something to my Google Calendar, and so it didn't sync like it normally does to my booking calendar, and I had a client come in and book a coaching call on the day that I'm moving my daughter into college. I didn't think that would be a problem because moving my daughter into college has been on my paper planner, it's been on my phone planner, it's been on the whiteboard planner on the side of our refrigerator, it's been on the whiteboard planner that's on the wall of my office, and it's been on my digital Google Calendar, which is supposed to click over and sync. But I forgot. I realized after I investigated what was going on, I forgot to click one little box that puts it on a very specific do not allow conflicts calendar. And so it didn't transfer in the right way. It transferred as an event that could be double booked, like an overall thing that's happening, like somebody's birthday. That's basically what it translated to in my calendar, the equivalent of a holiday or a birthday, and not something that makes me busy. And I'm inconveniencing a client, which I hate, and letting down a part of my business that's important to me as well as for me, because I really love working one-on-one with people and just makes a mess. So now I'm trying to reach back out to this client via email and I'm not getting through and I'm just trying to figure this out so they don't show up. We want to make sure that we teach our kids all of those different strategies so that they have multiple backups and they don't do things like that. But then also we want to show them when we make mistakes so they know that it's not the end of the world if they miss something or double book something, because it happens. You can also try a start your day routine board with photos or drawings or notes about how you organize your day so that you and your kids get up and you just go through the routine. It's not time bound, but it's order bound. Maybe you get up every morning, and actually this is the schedule that I use for myself. I get up in the morning, I bring one of the dogs, sleeps in our bathroom because it's opened to the bedroom. And then the other dog sleeps in bed with my daughter who sleeps in. So I get up and I take Daisy out, take her downstairs. I let her out while she's outside. I make coffee. I let her back in. I have a first cup of coffee. And then I usually go back upstairs and shower and do my supplements and all of that and get dressed. And then I go back downstairs. Usually by that time, my youngest is down there. And for breakfast, we fend for ourselves because all of us have different preferences in the morning. And then when I'm on top of things, I usually go back outside and sit and let the dogs play because by this time, the other dog has joined us. During our school year, I don't go back out that second time. We sit down and we do the stuff that requires all of our help. So like the things that we do together, if we're doing a unit study together, or if I need to be there to support them in a specific subject, that's when we're doing it. And then we split off after lunch to do our own activities. So like I can work in my office for a little bit, and then they'll work on their math and their handwriting and a couple of their independent assignments. So have an order and a structure to starting your day and teach your kids to do this. You could also offer a laminated daily checklist, maybe that they can mark with a dry erase or a wet erase marker so that they have some support, but then they're in charge of working through it. Number 2, you could try scaffolding transitions. Going from free time to work time can be really tough. It can be brutal. It can be brutal for me. There are so many times I come into my office and I see my computer staring at me, and instead of going over there, I sit down in the corner of my office where I have a super comfy chair, covered in a fuzzy quilt or blanket and a wall of twinkle lights. And I sit there and I either scroll some social media or I listen to my audiobook or I read a book and just watch my computer from across the room as it reminds me that there's a lot of work to do. So we want to make sure that we understand and support and validate the kids that where it's hard to go from free time to structured or math lesson or whatever. So we could start implementing things like using counters or countdowns or timers to give them a chance to ease out and then ease into something new. You can give a verbal warning, 10 more minutes, and then we're doing math. Sometimes I'll tell them, hey, in 10 minutes, you need to get off the computer because we're going to go do something else. I'm going to set Alexa right now, and so I set the Echo Dot, and I say as soon as that timer goes off, you need to close it down and turn off the computer. You could create a visual or a transition ritual. One of my friends used to sing with her kids, or she would sing, or I take that back. She would play a song on her, I don't know if it was an Amazon Echo or something else like that, whatever played her Spotify playlist. And by the end of the song, the kids knew that every time that song started, it was time to transition to morning time. And so by the time the song ended, they needed to be at the table ready for morning time. And it was usually like a bouncy song, upbeat, getting them their juices going for the day. You could have a different transition ritual, like a snack, a silly song, a movement break, whatever works for your family, because every family is different. And we need to respect and honor that because it's important that we're all different or the world would be a really boring place. All right, number 3, you can practice planning out loud. Model your own executive function thinking. I need to do 3 things before lunch. I need to call the doctor. I need to switch the laundry over. And I need to prep for our science experiment. Can you guys help me? What do you think would be the best order to do those things? Should I go call the doctor right now? Or should I switch the laundry first so it's going? Or should I start setting up the science experiment? Oh, you're right. Maybe I should start the laundry So it's going while I set up the science, if I can pull out the science equipment, and then I can call the doctor to set up that appointment. And I could do that while I could be on the line waiting for the receptionist to schedule the appointment while I set up the science. Great. Or you can invite them to help sequence tasks together. Explain to them or use transitionary words. First this, then that. Number 4, you can break tasks into tiny steps. Clean your room as well build a spaceship. It's so overwhelming. Be specific with your kids, especially when they struggle with executive function skills. Tell them, pick up all the books first and then come check in with me. Okay, that's awesome. Great job putting all your books back on the shelf. I am so proud of you. You rock. Now, take this trash bag and go empty all the trash in your room and look around on the floor, because when I was up there, I saw some candy wrappers and some crumpled up paper. So throw away all the trash that's on your floor too. Fabulous. You did that. That's amazing. Okay, now's the time to get all your dirty laundry downstairs. Get it downstairs and sort it into lights and darks, and then come check in with me, and we'll take a break and we'll go outside and we'll kick the ball around for a few minutes before we get back to it. Be specific. Give them support. You're not doing it for them, but you're helping model how to organize their thinking. You can use visuals. Take a photo of what a finished space looks like so they know what they're trying to attain. You could also try body doubling, which is just simply working side by side. Work with them so they feel supported and it's motivating to keep going. Number 5, create safe emotional spaces. Executive function struggles often come with shame and meltdowns. Validate your kiddos' feelings. I see this is hard for you today. That's okay. Let me support you. It's what I'm here for. Give them language for what's happening. Your brain is having a hard time shifting focuses right now. Sometimes we need to give our brain extra time and extra support so it knows what to do the next time we're in a situation like this. You can also use calm down kits, sensory tools, or co-regulation practices to keep your kiddo feeling emotionally safe as they're struggling. So have things in place so they know that they can take some deep breaths, they can take a break, and then you'll help them get back to the task at hand. Number 6, celebrate progress, not perfection. Create an I did it jar and add a marble every time they complete a step. Use strengths-based language. You figured out a way to start even though it felt hard. That's incredible. What a good brain you have. You are a great problem solver. Keep the focus on effort and growth, because it shows our kids that the outcome isn't always as important as the process. And then finally, number 7, use interests as anchors. Build executive function work into passion projects. If there's something that your kids are passionate about, help them develop the steps in order to achieve a project based on that passion. Or you could let them do something simple around the house, like plan a game night, bake cookies on their own, design a Lego city, whatever lights them up, but gives them the opportunity to initiate a task after planning a project and then persevering all the way through it, being resilient when things don't go right, and then taking a task all the way to completion. Let curiosity lead, and executive function skills will eventually follow. There's a lot of struggles that we might face when we're helping our kiddos with their executive function struggles. So let's name a few of those pain points, because I know you're likely feeling some of these. You might be feeling like you're micromanaging everything, and in a way you are to some degree. Kids who are neurodivergent and struggle with executive function skills need scaffolding right now. You're not failing and you're not micromanaging and you're not doing it for them. They're learning and you're showing them how to do it. It's hard and it's a balance. Sometimes you may end up doing too much. Sometimes you may end up doing too little. But overall, when you make sure you're there for your kids and you help them scaffold, you're always doing the right thing. You're not micromanaging, you're teaching and supporting, facilitating, and helping them. You might feel like your child melts down when things don't go as planned, and that's part of cognitive flexibility, which is another executive function skill. Build in flexibility slowly and gently. Teach them how to manage it so that they become more and more resilient each time. You might be thinking, my gosh, I've been thinking this so many times. I've thought this so many times throughout the years. It takes forever to get through anything. And we just had a discussion about this tonight in that Q&A I was talking about from the Learners Lab community, about that idea that it takes forever to get through anything because nobody wants to do anything, or it seems that way, but they just really can't do it. They don't know what to do. Here's the thing. You're not behind. You're building a foundation for life, not just school. The beauty of homeschooling is we're teaching them to live well-rounded adulthood. We're teaching them to be the best versions of themselves, and sometimes that means we're spending more time focusing in one area than another, and sometimes that's executive function skills rather than content. And you might be thinking, I don't know how to help. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present, curious, and willing to try again tomorrow. This is important work, and it takes time. You can totally do this. Homeschooling neurodivergent kids with executive dysfunction isn't about producing high-achieving kiddos with color-coded planners. It's about raising problem solvers who know how to ask for help, who know how to regulate their feelings, who know how to adapt to change, most importantly, who know how to keep trying. You're not just their teacher. You're not just their parent. You're their coach. You're their safe place. You're their reminder that hard things don't mean impossible things. And guess what? Every little step counts. Every morning that you start again matters. Every meltdown you ride out with compassion builds connection and trust. Remember, you don't have to do this alone. You can jump into the Learners Lab and find support, resources, classes, and a whole community of parents navigating this exact journey through printable tools, live support, and really just knowing you're not the only one. It can make a world of difference. You can also check out articles at Raising Lifelong Learners for more practical ideas and encouragement. Over on the show notes for this episode, I'll link to a bunch of those, like I said. And you can find that by going to raisinglifelonglearners.com/podcast. And here's the thing. If this episode encouraged you today, I would love it if you take a minute and share it with a friend or leave a review. It really helps more families find support like this. You are an amazing raising and homeschooling amazing kids. Executive function struggles are struggles, and they're real. And you can do it. I promise you, you can totally do it. You just have to be compassionate with yourself as well. I'll be back same time, same place next week with another episode. Before I go, I want to give a special shout out again to our sponsors for this episode, CTC Math and Night Zookeeper. Check them out at ctcmath.com, nightzookeeper.com. Let them know I sent you. Let them know that you appreciate their support of homeschooling podcasts like this, because it's through their support that we can keep doing this and keep bringing these resources to you. If there is a guest that you are really dying to hear from, or there is a topic you want me to talk about, I'd love it if you would shoot me a message. You can either do that through the contact form that is linked on the website, or you can email me at support@raisinglifelonglearners.com and just put in the subject line a podcast guest idea or a podcast topic idea. I'd love to hear from you because this resource is for you and I want to make it the best resource possible. All right, we'll be back same time, same place next week with another episode, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great week. Enjoy your kiddos. Bye for now.